Hey guys, Mr. Gucci here to coming at you with your homework help video. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can whip out a quick video before the next period begins. Okay, so here we go. Let's take a look. So we're doing mole stoichiometry. Okay, now what this means is we are going to try and figure out, based on some amount of a substance we know from a recipe, what other things are needed for that recipe. So a real world example of this would be making a grilled cheese. If you're like me, you like yourself a cheesy grilled cheese. So a grilled cheese would be made with 2 slices of bread and 3 slices of cheese, and that will make you one grilled cheese sandwich. So from this, we can come up with different questions based on amounts of ingredients or amounts of product. So for example, if you wanted to make, say, 5 grilled cheese sandwiches for your friends, how many slices of bread would you need? How many slices of cheese would you need? If you wanted to make 5 grilled cheese sandwiches, that's a pretty easy one to think about, because for every one grilled cheese sandwich, you would need 2 slices of bread, so twice as much bread. So 5 grilled cheeses means you're going to need 10 slices of bread. If you're making 5 grilled cheeses, you're going to need 3 times as many slices of cheese, so you're going to need 15 slices of cheese. Right? Like, this is pretty basic. You do this stuff in your head. But these equations can get a little bit more complicated depending on which way you're going. For example, let's say you have a loaf of bread that has, say, 24 slices of bread in it, and you want to make the maximum amount of grilled cheeses you can from those 24 slices of bread. So then, how many slices of cheese are you going to need? And you see, now things are getting a bit more complicated, because for every 2 slices of bread, you will need 3 slices of cheese. All right, so how do we solve a problem like this? So let me write it down here. I'm not going to use the problems that are provided. I'm going to come up with one. So let's see, you got 24 slices of bread. How many slices of cheese do you need? All right. So again, you have a whole loaf of bread, and your idea is you want to make as many grilled cheeses from that bread as you can. So how many slices of cheese do you need? Well, here's how this goes. You start by writing down your starting amount, 24 slices of bread. Okay. If you want to go, shortcut, you can just say 24 breads. All right. I'm not going to fault you for that. So you got 24 breads. All right. That's how much bread you're starting with. Okay. Yeah, I like to highlight stuff. I like to put some color in there. Okay, so you got 24 breads. You are trying to convert it into slices of cheese. All right, so you're going from breads into cheese. So we're going to put cheese here at the end on the other side of this equal sign right here. Okay, so we're going from breads into cheeses. Now, this is dimensional analysis. We want to get out of the units bread. So if we want to cancel bread, we put it on the opposite side of the fraction. Bread's on top, so breads will go on the bottom here. And we want to convert into cheese, so we're going to put cheese on top here, all right? So we're getting out of bread into cheese. Now, the question is, what numbers go in front? Because, of course, with dimensional analysis, you got to actually put some numbers in here. Well, this is where we look to the recipe, all right? And we see that for every 2 slices of bread, we need 3 slices of cheese. So we're going to put those numbers in here. 2 slices of bread for every 3 slices of cheese. So you see, in essence, what we're doing is we're taking our 24 slices of bread and we're multiplying it by 3 over 2, or 3/2. So we can just put that in the calculator. 24 times 3/2 equals 36 slices of cheese. Okay, 36 slices of cheese. That is our final answer. So that's where we're putting it. We're putting our final answer in these yellow boxes. Well, then what's this gray box for? Well, look, if I was being extremely precise, I would say that across the top, 24 times 3 is 72 on top, and 2 on the bottom. 72 divided by 2 is 36 slices of cheese. So this right here is just an extra step to multiply across the top and multiply across the bottom to simplify your answer, okay? To make it a bit more detailed, okay? But you can just put your answer in here. Once you see that it's just 24 slices of bread times 3/2, you can plug that into your calculator and get 36 slices of cheese. This doesn't seem that hard, but again, dimensional analysis is not here to tell us how, Oh, how do we multiply? Right? Oh, 24 times 3 halves. You don't need dimensional analysis to tell you how to find 24 times 3 halves. You can put it in your calculator. All right? Dimensional analysis is not here to tell you how to multiply or divide. Dimensional analysis is here to tell you when to multiply and when to divide. Because I guarantee that if we did not work this out with 3 on top and 2 on the bottom by following the units, guaranteed some people would multiply by 2/3 instead. Okay? But that's not what we're trying to do here. We are trying to get out of bread, so 2 bread on the bottom, and into cheese, 3 cheese on top. These numbers come from the balanced chemical equation. Now, this is not a chemical equation. This is just a recipe. So let's use an actual chemical equation. Okay, here we go. This right here is the chemical equation for the production of ammonia fertilizer. This is perhaps one of the most important chemical equations because this makes the fertilizer that feeds us, all right, that makes the food that feeds billions of people on Earth. So let's start with another question here, okay? I'm going to make one up, okay? I'm going to replace this with 4 and change it to 6.75. Okay, so here we go. So how many moles of hydrogen are needed to completely react with 6.75 moles of nitrogen? Well, look, I'm starting with what I know to be my starting amount, 6.75 moles. All right, so I'm going to start with that, 6.75 moles nitrogen. And I want to know how many moles of hydrogen are produced. So I'm converting this into moles hydrogen. All right, remember it's diatomic, so I put it H2. In fact, nitrogen's diatomic as well, so I put that as N2. Okay, so I want to get out of these moles of nitrogen and figure out how many moles of hydrogen are needed. So to get out of moles of nitrogen, I'm going to put it on the bottom. Bam, I want to get out of moles of nitrogen. And I want to convert it into moles of hydrogen. So moles of hydrogen go on top. Okay, this is always how it goes. We start with the value that we're given. Okay, the value that we're given always goes over here on the left-hand side. And we're going to turn it into the units that we want. All right, and that goes on the right-hand side. Okay, we get out of what we started with, that goes in the bottom, and we go into what we want. Now, we got to put these numbers in here again. Okay, so what numbers belong here? Once again, we go to the balanced chemical equation. Let's look up here. Nitrogen. It's 1 nitrogen, so 1 mole nitrogen, for hydrogen for every 3 moles hydrogen. All right, 3 moles hydrogen. So ultimately what we're doing is we're taking 6.75 moles of nitrogen and we're just multiplying it by 3. I'm put that in my calculator. 6.75 times 3. That is 20.25 on the top, 1 on the bottom. So that's just 20.25 moles. Okay? Again, you're like, oh, we're just multiplying it by 3. Guaranteed at least a third of you would have divided by 3. Okay? If that. Okay? Dimensional analysis is not here to tell us how to multiply or how to divide. We can do that with a calculator. Dimensional analysis is here to tell us when we are multiplying and when we are dividing. And if we're getting out of nitrogen on the bottom and into hydrogen on top, then that's going to be a 1 on the bottom and a 3 on top. Again, these numbers here, they come from the balanced equation. As you continue to work on this worksheet, well, for the first set of problems, I gave you the balanced equation. All right? I balanced it for you. We did it in class, okay? But for the next set, you're going to have to balance this equation before you work on these problems. All right? Balance this equation before you work on these. Balance this final equation before you work on these problems and the bonus down there as well. Okay, so you have to balance these equations first because you are going to need these coefficients here to do your conversion from your starting amount that you know into your final units that you want to convert into. All right, good luck, everyone.